All right, so now we're in question number 29 of the ACT English test. Let's begin. Now, this question is a particular category of questions called logic and cohesion. You want to be familiar with these categories. And this type of question usually comes in the form of rearranging sentences within a paragraph. But in this case, we're going to be rearranging paragraphs within a passage. So it's a little broader in scope, but we use the same three steps. So the first thing we want to do when trying to assess where a paragraph should be within a passage is look for pronoun usage. Pronouns are a good way to indicate if something is out of order. So for example, if I said, he went to the grocery store, period, and then I said, Michael is getting into his car, it would make more sense for Michael to go before he. We want to say who he is before we use the pronoun he. So pronoun usage is a really clear way to know if something is out of order. Okay, the next is going to be the use of transition words. Transition words will transition between thoughts. They could transition between different sentences, but they can also transition between paragraphs. So we want to be on the lookout for transition words. And then finally, we want to look for logical order of events. Now, in order to answer this correctly, we're going to need to understand the context in which this paragraph exists within the passage, which means you should have been reading for understanding as you got down to this point. If you weren't reading for understanding, well, then you're going to have a difficult time, and this is going to take you quite a while. So make sure in future passages that you definitely read for understanding so you can quickly go about answering these types of questions. Okay, so now let's go up to paragraph 2. And let's see if we see any pronouns or transition words. And we're not just looking in paragraph 2. Remember, we're going to be looking at the sentence before from the previous paragraph and the first sentence of the following paragraph. This is the first place I like to look. Okay, I do see a pronoun I, but we're not too worried about that. If it said he, then I would need to go and figure out, well, who is he? I always means the narrator, and it's okay for them to represent themselves with I without mentioning anything about themselves. So don't worry about that too much. Let's see if we see any transition words. From here, the contrast draws me in every time. No transition words. I collect ghost signs, not the signs themselves, but photos. Driving home one chilly October evening, I got my collection started. I had made the same drive countless times before, but I had never noticed the sign. Okay. Then there it was. Okay, interesting. So look, I have a transition word then. That's my transition word. There it was, and there's my pronoun. Okay, so this pronoun has to be referring to something either within the sentence or outside the sentence. Well, this one, it's a little ambiguous, right? Because it could just be referring to Joe's Cafe. But because we have this transition word here, it lets us know we are also referring to the sign mentioned in the previous paragraph. So it could be a little difficult to spot, but this transition word definitely helps us understand that these two paragraphs are connected. And what that tells me is that paragraph 2 is in the right spot. Okay, so now that we know it's in the right spot, just by using transition words and pronouns, let's go up and check the logical order of events just so we can confirm. And of course, you don't have to do this on the actual test if you don't have time. And this is why we use pronouns and transition words to allow us to correctly identify where it should go, assuming that we have read this passage already for understanding. Okay, it's called ghost signs. So seeing remnants of advertisements from a bygone era, they are called ghost signs. All right away, I know this makes sense because we are introducing the word ghost sign and defining what it means. And of course, I would like to define the word ghost sign before I mention it in the next paragraph. So I know paragraph 1 should be right where it was. Now, this is generally speaking in the first person about what the narrator likes to do. And now we're going into a specific event. So that makes sense. We want to follow from general to a specific example. And this next paragraph here, once in a while, I'll take my friend with me on my searches. Okay, perfect. So now we're transitioning to the narrator talking about bringing a friend along. Also, we wouldn't want to swap paragraph 2 with paragraph 4 because paragraph 2 is really introducing the narrator and what he likes to do. It's sort of what the passage is all about. So of course we wouldn't want to put the whole purpose of the passage at the end of the passage. That wouldn't make any sense. So paragraph 4 is in the right spot as well. So we recognize we were going to keep it right where it was by looking at pronoun usage and transition words. And then we just confirmed that by checking the logical order of events. We went through each of these options to show why they would not be correct. And again, we are left with answer choice A. Thank you.